On today's History of Politics, I want to talk about something that most people don't really recognize. And it's a very simple thing, but I'm also going to talk to its relationship to the military. And that topic is the Third Amendment. Now, most people are familiar with the First Amendment and freedom of speech and the Establishment Clause and the Second Amendment about the right to keep and bear arms, and the Fourth Amendment about illegal search and seizures, and of course the Fifth Amendment, the right to remain silent. The Eighth Amendment is talked about a lot. The 14th Amendment, which is birthright citizenship and impeachment disqualification, and of course the 25th Amendment, when a president needs to be taken down because he can no longer perform the job in terms of either physical or mental illness or both. Today, we're going to talk about the Third Amendment, and here's what it says basically. The Third Amendment says that in peacetime, the military cannot commandeer somebody's home to use as barracks or to live there without consent of the homeowner. But if it's during wartime, there is a particular plan in place that goes through Congress and the Department of Defense that would allow them to. But they can't just take over a house without the owner's consent. That's what the Third Amendment says. It's very simple, and it's not really talked about because it's not, we don't really use that. Our wars are not like the wars of the era, the 1700s and 1800s, where we had the British still coming over the wall and trying to take back this country, or the Civil War, the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. We don't have that really here anymore. And prayerfully, we never will again, even though as much as Donald Trump is trying to start another civil war, we're still avoiding that as best we can. Now, the main thrust of what I want to speak to about today is that there are certain limitations on the military, our greatest fighting force ever, those brave men and women, but there's also protections afforded to American citizens where the military just can't go and do whatever they want to do. We're going to start with the Insurrection Act of 1802. The Insurrection Act is the only act where the president can actually directly call for military intervention. And that is where there would have to be American citizens actually trying to overthrow the federal government. That's it. If a couple of thousand of American citizens got together and hence tried to go ahead and overthrow the federal government by trying to bum rush the Capitol building and the White House, using arms and deadly force, trying to bomb it, whatever, to remove the president, to remove Congress, that would be enough. That is the literal definition of insurrection. When you're rising up to overthrow the federal government. I want to be clear about that. Federal government. Because after all, our military is federal. Even the National Guard, although it is attached to historically federal lines in terms of our National Guard is usually part of the Army, and they're trained in the Army, but their jurisdiction is state. They have to become what's called federalized to operate on a federal level, and Congress would have to authorize that. Congress has to authorize it. The president can't just go and say, I want you Marines to go in there and start wiping everybody out. Doesn't work. Also, there's the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878, which says basically that the military can take no civilian law enforcement action in this country. Those are our protections.